Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Easy Learn. And today's topic is algebra, within which we're going to be doing quadratic equations, and it's practice time today. As already discussed, quadratic equations can be solved using three ways, that is, zero factor property, completing the square, and the quadratic formula. If you haven't watched these explanation videos, you can check the links in the description below, go understand the concept, and then come back for solving. So today's question is, a rectangular field is 30 meters longer than wide. The area of the field is 8,800 meters square. Work out the perimeter of the field. Now, if first of all, as you can see, this is a rectangular field. So let me just draw a rectangular for a rough representation of what it looks like. Now, the area of this field is 8,800 meter square, and it says work out the perimeter of the field, right? Perimeter is basically you add up all the four sides that you have to add all the four sides, and that gives you the perimeter. Now, what are the sides? We don't know what are the sides. Whatever is the side here, the one below that is going to be the same, and whatever is your side length is going to be the same as the other side length because it's a rectangle. Now, it says a rectangular field is 30-meter longer than its wide, right? So the length is 30 meters more than the width. That's what it means. Now, for that, I don't know what the width is. If it's talking about width, it's unknown. Now whenever you're dealing with unknown lengths or widths or whatever, you represent those unknown as x, right? So it says the field is 30 meters longer than the width, than its wide, right? So if the width is x, 30 meters longer means that the length is supposed to be 30 plus x. The width is unknown to me. If I take the unknown as x, then the length is the only information I have available for the length is that it's 30 meters longer, which means it is 30 plus x. So let's say if this is my length, which is 30 plus x, and this is my width, that is x. So obviously this side is also x, and this side is also 30 plus x, right? Now, this is the whole situation. I need to find the perimeter. So for the perimeter, I gotta add up x and 30 plus x and all of those sides. But in order to add up, I need a value for x. I need to know what the actual lengths and the widths are. But for that, I don't have any more information. I just have one more piece of information that says the area of the field is 8,800. Now, what is the area of a rectangle? Area of a rectangle is length times the width. Now, if I put in the specific bits and pieces of information that I have, if I put it in here, then 8,800 is my area, and my length is 30 plus x times my width, which is just x, right? X is my width, 30 plus x is my length. So 30 plus x times x is equal to 8,800. Now, I can perhaps work on this 30 plus x times x, solve it somehow, and then try and find the value of x. Now, in order to solve it, the first thing is that I gotta do x times 30, that is 30x. My 8,800 just stays where it is. So the x times 30 is 30x, and then x times x is x squared. X times x is x squared. Now, the moment you see an equation like this that consists of an x squared, you should know, you should understand, it should strike to you that this is a quadratic equation. And once you figure out that this is a quadratic equation, you need to rearrange the quadratic equation in the normal general quadratic format, that is ax squared plus bx plus c, which means I gotta rearrange this entire equation so that my x squared comes first. Then I have my bx, so my 30x, so plus 30x plus c. Where's my c? My c is here. That is after the equals sign, which means I gotta grab my c to the other side. Now c here is positive. When I take it to the other side, it turns into negative. So I'm going to write negative 8,800. Now, this is my final quadratic equation that says x squared plus 30x minus 8,800. Now, this is how I go about solving. Once I have my final quadratic equation, I have to see my how can I solve it. Now, again, to solve this, I have three methods: completing the square, the quadratic formula, and the zero factor property. Quadratic formula is generally the easiest because you just put in the values and then put it in your calculator and you just get the answers directly. Zero factor and completing is more like doing things manually, so we mostly avoid in questions like these. Now, what is the quadratic formula? If I go about quadratic formula, it's minus b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Now, first of all, you got to figure out what's your a, b, and c. Now ax squared, so a is supposed to be a number. Here x squared, there is no number. Whenever there's no number, it's an invisible one. So a is equal to 1. And what's my b now? Bx, so b here corresponds to 30. So b is equal to 30. And c is this number right here, that is c equals negative 8,800. Now that I have my ABC figured out, I am going to put it in my quadratic formula to figure out my final answer and then work out my perimeter. Now, the point is, what am I trying to find using the quadratic formula? I'm trying to find this x value. The x squared and 30x, this x value is the one that I'm finding out. So I'm going to write x equals minus b. What's my b? It's 30. So minus 30 plus or minus, as you can see, it's just a general formula that says plus and minus. Plus and minus means that you will have to figure out an answer with a plus sign first and then a minus sign first, and minus sign after that. So minus 30 plus or minus square root of b squared, that is 30 squared, minus 4 times the a, that is 1, times the c, that is negative 8,800, divided by 2a, that is 2 times just 1. And now I have x equals negative 30 stays where it is, plus and minus stays where it is, square root stays where it is, and 2 times 1 stays where it is. Now I have a 30 square and I have a 4 times negative. Now if you can see, there's a negative 4 multiplied with a negative 8,800. So negative times a negative is just positive. So 4 times 8,800 gives me 35,200. And then if I add that with my 30 square is 900, and my 900 plus my 35,200 gives me 36,100. So here I'm going to write square root of 36,100. Now if I try and figure out the 36,100, square root of that is 190. So x is equal to, now here's where this plus and minus comes into action. I have 190 as my final answer after square roots. So I have negative 30 plus 190 over 2, and another value that is negative 30 negative 190 over 2. So now negative 30 plus 190 gives me 160, and that divided by 2 gives me 80. So x is equal to either 80 or comma negative 30 with a negative 190 gives me a 220, and 220 divided by 2 gives me a negative 110, because negative 30 and negative 190 is negative 220. So negative 220 over 2 is a negative 110. Now these are my x values. Now I have to work out the perimeter of the field. Now for the perimeter, you need to understand that you cannot take a negative answer. Obviously the length cannot be negative, which means that 110 just rules out because I can't take a negative answer. So my x is supposed to be 80. Now, if I want to figure out that what are my lengths before my perimeters, I need to see what are my lengths. So here I have, it was 30 plus x, so it's 30 plus the x, that is 80. So the length is 110. So if this side is 110, this one's also 110, and this side x is just 80. 80 here, 80 there. And then if I have to find the perimeter, either you just add up all the sides, 110 plus 110 plus 80 plus 80, or you can just do 2 times 110 plus 80. That's also a general perimeter formula for a rectangle that says 2 times the length plus the width, or the breadth, right? 2 times the length plus the width. So 110 plus 80 is 190 times 2 gives me 380. If you even break down and you do 110 plus 110 plus 80, that gives you 380. So therefore, my perimeter is equal to 380 meters. Why do I say meters? Because I already know that the area was in meters square, which means that all these lengths were in meters. Therefore, the perimeter is also in meters. So my answer is perimeter is equal to 380 meters. That's how you solve this question. Whatever information is given to you, draw it out, check out your length, check out your width. Whenever something is unknown, you replace it with an x, and then you proceed with that x, and then the area, so length times width is equal to the area. Get your quadratic equation, solve using the quadratic formula, and then once you get your x answer, take out the positive answer and then put it in your length, figure out your final length, and then work out the perimeter by adding all the sides. So that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching Easy Learn. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. If you have any questions, any confusions, drop them down in the comment section below. Thank you.